Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Football Manager experiment video. Now, you may well be able to see from the title there, we're talking today about an experiment involving Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard and Paul Scholes. Now, in their day, arguably three world-class players. Now, my mate was having a conversation with me about this the other day, and he was saying, "Well, out of the three, who was the better? You know, who was the better player for you?" For me, it's Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes just had a range of everything about him, and was just the success he achieved at Man United was incredible. Obviously, Gerrard carried Liverpool for so many years, so many years, and done amazingly well to win the Champions League, the UEFA Cup, and also FA Cup, and numerous games in which he saved Liverpool. Frank Lampard, top goal scorer for Chelsea in their history. You know, that kind of stat cannot be ignored. But what I want you guys to do before we get into the experiment is leave me down in the comment section as to who you think was the better player. Was it Lampard, Gerrard or Scholes? Now, for this experiment, what we're going to do is going to transfer those three guys into the management world. Yep, we're pushing them forward without even getting them their coaching badges. So what we're going to do, put Lampard at Chelsea, Paul Scholes at Man United and Gerrard at Liverpool to see who can perform the best. Who's going to get sacked first? Maybe someone can win some silverware. Who knows? We'll find out. But if we go onto the first person's profile, which is Frank Lampard, you can see that at the moment, without his coaching badges and without his actual proper knowledge and getting to start with an under-20s team or whatever the case may be, his stats are not great. Determination and motivation are probably the two best attributes that you could say on here, and is definitely more suited at the moment to a coaching role than he is for a manager. But Lampard has expressed in the past intentions to be Chelsea manager, so this is a bit early for him, but let's see how he does. Next up is Steven Gerrard, and this is more like it. Look at those attributes. I mean, working with youngsters, man management, judging ability, potential, determination, motivation are all fantastic, and the rest of them are very well-rounded attributes. At the moment, he is in the under-23 setup. He's one of the coaches there now at Liverpool. But we're pushing him forward. I think ultimately one day he will become Liverpool manager because he's just got that aura about him. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he does as a coach, and especially how he's going to do as a manager on this save. And the final one is Paul Scholes at Manchester United. So attacking 15, technical ability 18, working with youngsters 14, determination 17. The rest of them are pretty poor. Now, again, in terms of coaching ability, Paul Scholes as a coach is normally somebody that I snap up straight away because of his technical abilities. He never lasts too long with me. He always is on my coaching staff for about 6 months before he then gets sacked, or no, not sacked rather, then gets snapped up by normally by a League One or a League Two side. But yeah, as I said, this is going to be really interesting to see who would be the better manager. And again, what I want you guys to do is to leave me down in the comment section who out of those three would make a better manager. But let's see what Football Manager predicts. Let's go forward until the end of the season. If one of those guys gets sacked beforehand, I will come back to you to show you who the first person has been sacked, and we'll have a look at some of the signings they've made, who's won a trophy, and keep going and keep progressing until we have one man standing. So here we go, guys. I did not expect this. The first sacking is Steven Gerrard at Liverpool. You've got the favourites on the side there. I did not expect that. With looking at his stats, I didn't think they'd get rid of him. But Steven Gerrard has had his contract terminated by Liverpool chairman Thomas Werner. Departure is thought to have been triggered by the club's poor league position. They find themselves in 12th place. That is really bad. 6 wins, 4 draws, but 7 defeats, and the defeats are not even against that greater teams. Other than Man City and Tottenham, you would say that the rest of them are fairly winnable games. But Liverpool have sacked Steven Gerrard, and what was the formation that they were playing? Let's just have a look to see how Gerrard would have set his team up. It's a pretty standard Football Manager formation, the 4-3-3. Not very much in terms of attacking prowess. But who did Steven Gerrard sign? Let's just have a look. He only made the one signing. No ins, there's no other ins, no outs at all. Mattia Di Ceglio rather, is the only income for Liverpool. So that's really, really shocked me. Let's just have a look on the insecure jobs. Let's just have a little bit of a look. So Frank Lampard is in an insecure position and they are currently sitting in 7th, whereas Man United and Paul Scholes are in 4th and a stable position. So will Frank Lampard pick up any results and get himself off the insecure status, or will he be the next casualty? Let's keep going until we find out. And the inevitable has happened. Halfway through January, Chelsea sack Frank Lampard. They have currently find themselves in 9th position. Things just haven't gone well for Frank. Obviously not wanted by anyone. Has preferences to be a coach in his next role. But let's have a look at Chelsea and see what's going on. They're actually 10th now. And Steve Holland has taken over the caretaker position for Chelsea. In terms of his personnel, who did he bring on? We loaned out Ruben Loftus-Cheek to Middlesbrough, sold Victor Moses, or loaned him out rather, and has loaned Ola out to Brighton. He's brought in 2 players, the FM wonder kid, which is Andre Dizelle from Ipswich, and Jose Gaya from Valencia. So he's actually made a very, very good signing there, which could prove to be quite valuable. And he signed Andre Dizelle in the January transfer window as well. So why let him spend money if you know you're going to just sack him? But anyway, as I said, Chelsea find themselves in 10th place, 8 wins, 6 draws and 8 defeats. And I mean, again, exactly the same as Steven Gerrard. I mean, other than Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, there are games in there that Chelsea should be winning. But obviously, in terms of the personnel, Frank Lampard and also Steven Gerrard just haven't been able to cope. Since Gerrard has left, Liverpool are now shooting up the table and find themselves in 6th place. So I guess it's a case of forwarding on to the end of the season to see whereabouts Man United finish. But as things stand mid-January, they've only lost 1 game, which is against Everton, but have drawn an absolutely incredible 10 games of football. Anyway, let's forward on to the end of the season and see how he does. So here we go. We're at the end of the first season and Paul Scholes is still in charge. He has outlasted Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard. His reputation has gone up by half a star. He's now on 2.5-star reputational. And where did Manchester United finish? They finished in 4th position, losing a grand total of 4 games the entire season. If it wasn't for those draws, they would have quite easily won the Premier League. But they haven't. They've drawn a lot of games, and as a result, they finish in 4th place. So they're well clear of Liverpool and in Chelsea, who have both managed to turn around their bad starts to the season and are performing very, very well. But Paul Scholes remains in charge. So if we just have a look very, very quickly at how they did in the rest of their competition. So they unfortunately lost in the Community Shield to Leicester. In terms of Europe, how did they get on? Did they get to the semi-final? No. Quarter-final? No. Second knockout round? They got knocked out by Southampton in the second round of the Europa League. So that's annoying for them. EFL Cup, knocked out by Leicester again. Somewhat of a bogey team for Man United this season. And in terms of the FA Cup, they got knocked out by Newcastle, of all teams. He didn't play a particularly strong team at all for this. A lot of youngsters, a lot of mixing around, which is disappointing because I would have liked to have seen him won a trophy. These are the signings that he made. Cancelo from Valencia, and these are the people he's loaned out. Loaned out a couple of players and has also sold Antonio Valencia to a Chinese club. So, as I said, Paul Scholes has outlasted the lot of them. He is the last manager. Now, as I said, what I want you guys to do in the comment section down below is leave me your thoughts on who would be the most successful manager out of those 3 and the reasons why. And out of the 3, who was your favourite player growing up and watching these guys in action? They were absolutely quality players in their day. All 3 of them had different attributes from the other, but who was your favourite and who do you think is going to be the better manager in the future? So thank you very much for watching another experiment video from myself, DJam, and as always on the channel, until we see each other next time, adios.